Good day. My name is Jose Alexius Nino Florentino, and I'm going to present basic occupational safety and health. For the training, there are 5 steps of training. These are analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. For the analysis, it is a phase of training needs it is a phase of training needs analysis directed at identifying which individual within an organization should receive training and what training should they receive. And for the design phase, it focuses on both the design of the learning experience and materials needed to support the experience. And good design builds on the results of the analysis. Once the learning has been designed, the development stage will follow. And for the development stage, this stage focuses on creating and developing those materials and experiences. For the implementation stage, it is where the training program comes to life. Organizations need to decide whether training will be delivered in-house or externally coordinated. And lastly, the evaluation stage. This stage considers the success of training and is necessary for identifying elements of training processes and training programs that were beneficial and areas for improvement. So here are the types of trainers. Number one, the average hotels. These kinds of trainers are mainly gives information to audience. For the number two, the good who explains. These kind of trainers are making their conveyed information supplemented with an explanation. For number three, the superior who demonstrates. These trainers profoundly conveying ideas and key information with demonstrations. Number four, the excellent who inspires. These trainers conveys not just key ideas and information but also shows the vision. So here are the roles of safety officer as an OSH trainer. Mm, so he must be a subject matter expert, training technologies sensitive to adult learners, course designer, group facilitator, and presenter. So here are the essentials of delivering a presentation. Authority. For authority, the trainer must present and show that he has the authority of the course of presentation. He must be also he must have the sense of responsibility for the presentation. Number two, involvement. He must involve the audience in its presentation and through the course of his presentation. Three, communicativeness. Trainer must possess the skill to communicate with its audience. Number four, vocal expression. Tone must be lively. Number five, physical expressiveness. Trainer must express through mainly his gestures. So here are the skill of facilitating learning. The trainer must maintain self-esteem. Trainer must be confident. He must have the authority. For the listening and responding with empathy, checking for understanding, making procedural suggestions. For the techniques of presentation, before presentation, choose a topic that interests you, prepare ahead of time, practice scrimmage. So you must have the mock presentation many times as possible. Set realistic expectation. Think positively. Mm, During the presentation, start loud and strong. Breathe deeply and slowly. Channel nervousness to movement and gestures. A reporter must.
Hi sir, my name is Aljon Alab and I will be discussing further on occupational injuries with workdays lost on the causes of injury. The first and the highest causes is the stepping on, striking against, or struck by objects, which is equivalent to 36.3%. This is the accidents wherein someone is being hit, stepped on a something during its work days. The next is caught in or in between objects. It was when your arm is being caught in between two moving parts of a machine, or your work or your piece of clothing is being caught against it. And then the next is the falls, wherein someone is being fallen, or someone falls from a certain height and causes some injuries to its back, hips, or any parts of its body. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is about the agents of injury. First is the machines and equipments, which is equivalent to 26.2%. These are the moving parts of the machine which may cause harm to the workers that is operating. Next is the materials and objects. These are the raw materials, maybe the ingredients which would be mixed using the machines, which is 24.4%. Then lastly is the hand tools used by the machinist. Moving on, let's discuss occupational diseases. These are the diseases or illnesses that is experienced mostly by workers during work hours. First on the list is back pains, which is 31.3% of the workers' experiences. Second is the essential hypertension, which is equivalent to 15.5%. The next is the neck to shoulder pains, which is equivalent to 11.4%. Then occupational asthma, which is equivalent to 5.4%. This may be because of the dust for those workers who are working near, which is more of like a construction. Then the last is the other infections that is being or caught by the workers during their work. Now let's move on to accidents versus incidents. Accidents are occurrences or events that are unexpected, unforeseen, unplanned, and unwanted, which results to damage, injuries, losses, or death, such as car accident. Whereas incidents are events which, under slightly different circumstances, may have resulted in injury or ill health, damage or loss to property, plant, materials, or the environment, loss or business opportunities such as the bombing incident, fire incident, etc. Now let's move on to system theory of accident causation, which is purposes that work is a system composed a group of regularly interacting and interrelated components such as people, equipment, machineries, tools, and materials, and environment. Now, moving on, hazards is a source of potential damage harm or adverse health effects on something or someone, and there are classification of hazards, such as safety hazards and health hazards, which we will be discussing on the next slides. Now let's move on to the types of hazards. Biological hazards, chemical hazards, physical hazards, ergonomic hazards, psychosocial hazards, and safety hazards. Since hazard itself is a source of damage, being exposed to it may pose you in great danger. And this exposure has also two types, physical and environmental. Let's move on to the types of accidents wherein you fall to the ground from the platform that you are standing due to unprecedented circumstances. Next is wherein you get caught into a moving parts of a machine or you get caught in something. Second is you get struck by a something object from because of some hand tools recoils when it is being used on a machine, or you begin in contact with a hot surface which may cause your skin to burn, or braided or rubbed against a surface that would cause you abrasion on your skins. Let's talk about the causes of those accidents. First is unsafe acts, wherein a human action that violates a common accepted work procedure, whereas a person do some exhibition during at work. The next is operating equipment without authority, when you want some try because no one is watching or you just want to learn on your own because you don't want the help of others. Third is disregard of SOP or instructions. This is also the same with the second one. Then let's move on is removing safety devices. Removing safety devices may cause you to be exposed to hazards, so that's why it may be the causes of some accidents. Next is using defective equipment. Defective equipment may really be harmful to the person who is operating it. Another one is using PPEs, a personal protective equipment, improperly. Remember, PPE for is to protect the person. It must be used properly for you to be safe. Next is horseplay, wherein you just make fun of your works because you are so full of yourself, just something like that. Another is willful intent to injure, wherein you did things just to harm your coworkers because you are mad at him for not letting you off in time. Lastly is working under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We all know that when a person is influenced of alcohol or drugs, his performance during work is very well affected, and its performance is not like the normal when he is not influenced. Factors contributing to unsafe acts. The first is the improper attitude, wherein you just work it out because you don't want to do this, that's why you are just doing this in an unsafe way, which may cause harm to other people around you. Second is physical limitations. Then third is the lack of knowledge or skills. This may pose unsafe act because if you are unknowledgeable or with the things that you are doing, that it also may cause or expose hazards to the people around you. Now let's move on to the causes of accidents in the workroom or in a workspace. First is unsafe conditions, which are physical or chemical property of a material, machine, or the environment which cause result in injury to a person, damage, or destruction to property, or other form of losses. It is when you are working with at a very unsafe place. Second is slippery and wet floors. When slippery and wet floor may also pose accidents, which would harm the workers. Next is dusty area, when it may cause occupational asthma for those people who already have allergies. This also oppose that. Then congested plant plant layout wherein people was no workspace or enough space to work. Another is octopus wiring, which may cause electrical short circuits, which would also pose a great threat on fire into the workspace. Then another is unguarded rotating machines. This is a great hazard for the workers if a machine is unguarded and it is rotating. This may cause for some for your hands to be caught in it or being abraded when it's rotating. The another is the protruding nails or sharp objects. This might be a little might be small, but it could really cause tetanus or another other infections when it cause wounds to the skin. Another is the scattered object on the work area. Work areas must be cleaned after and before and after the work to avoid accidents or when the people steps or slips into that object and may cause an accident. Let's move on to the occupational safety and health management concept. First is behind every unsafe condition, there is a management that allowed hazards to. This unsafe conditions on a workplace would also promote hazards if not maintained or not given attention to. Next is exist and behind every behavior there is a management systems. And last is organizational culture that leads to people to act and safely. Is multiple causations of theory of accident. We have here a diagram which is man, machine, and media, and with human error as the common thing under the whole circle of management. This argues that the single accident has multiple causes. That's the theory that considers unsafe acts and unsafe conditions together with human errors and immediate causes of accidents. And behind those immediate causes, there is a system of failure and personal beliefs of root causes. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I hope that you will learn and understood the overall report.